Hey guys, it's WotLK, and today I wanted to talk about my top 5 favorite proc weapons during the Wrath of the Lich King expansion. I'm making this list because I had more best in slot characters during this expansion than I did in any other expansion. So I had all the weapons on this list at some point. On another note, I apologize if I completely butcher some of the pronunciations, but if I do, feel free to let me know in the comments. Also, this should have better audio recording. I got a new microphone, so everything should be fixed on that level. Feel free to let me know what you think. And without further ado, let's get started. Number 5, Nibelung. The Nibelung drops off of Lady Death Whisper in Icecrown Citadel 25-man. It was a good staff to get going into patch 3.3.3. And I remember having it on my Frost Mage, and I dealt some pretty heavy damage. It had a 1% proc to summon a Valkyrie to fight for you for 30 seconds. And the reason I put it on this list is mainly because of the changes that were made in a later hotfix. They changed the proc from 1% to 2%, and they made it to where anytime the summoned Valkyrie casts the Smite spell, she'd heal herself for 25% of the damage done, and that became really useful. But the main reason it's on this list is because how useful this weapon was in PvP. Valkyrie had great stealth detection, and I cannot tell you how many times I was in battlegrounds or arenas, and it broke a rogue or feral stealth for me. This weapon definitely won a few games for me back in the day. Number 4, Abra-Cadaver. This weapon dropped from Festergut and ICC 10-man, so it was a little easier to get than the Nibelung. It's another staff that had a proc to summon a cadaver that would protect you for 1 minute. This was another good weapon to use in PvP by mage. I actually used this before I got the Nibelung, but replaced it after the Nibelung hotfix. Number 3, Brent the Bone Arbiter. Okay, so this is a two-handed axe that drops from Lord Marigar and ICC 25-man. I got this on my Death Knight, and he was dual-spec'd Unholy for PvP and Blood Tank. And what was awesome about this axe is I could use it for both PvP and tanking. It had a proc to steal around 2k health from your target, and that definitely saved my ass in the arena when my healer was CC'd or around line of sight, whatever. And it goes without saying, the health stealing was definitely viable for tanking as a Blood Death Knight, and it was generally a pretty good weapon to have at that time. Number 2, Val'anyr Hammer of Ancient Kings. So I got this weapon on my Holy Paladin, and it was well deserved after grinding Alduar for what seemed like forever to get it. You had to collect 30 fragments of Val'anyr, and then you combine it into the Shattered Fragments of Val'anyr, and that item starts a short little 2-part quest line to get the mace. Those fragments only dropped off of bosses in the 25-man mode, and then you had to roll against everyone else who needed them in the group, if you were lucky enough to even have them drop at all, since the drop rate from almost every single boss was extremely low. So getting 30 of these fragments to form the quest item was not easy at all. This mace had a proc where your healing spells would have a chance to give this buff to the target called Blessing of Ancient Kings for 15 seconds, and it would absorb damage equal to 15% of the amount healed. And this buff stacked with itself, so if it was cast more than once from multiple heals, it would be able to absorb more damage. This was extremely helpful, and I remember I was running an arena team on my Paladin with my buddy who was an arms warrior, and we got to 3k rating using this mace, so that was awesome. Number 1, last but not least, Blizzard would not give us the Lich King's Frostborn, so we got Shadowmourne. This is another weapon I ended up getting on my Death Knight later on. First you had to go through the questline to get Shadow's Edge, which took forever on its own. Then you had to use it to kill a shit ton of adds in ICC. Then you had to use it to kill Professor Putricide after completing that quest. Then you had to kill Queen Lanathel with it. Then you had to kill Syndragosa with it. And on top of all this, you had to collect 50 Shadowfrost shards, which was a rare drop off of bosses in 25-man mode. And then you had to roll against all the other Death Knights, Warriors, and Paladins who needed them for it. And then you could finally get your Shadowmourne. I literally spent the better half of a year farming this weapon, so I was super excited when I got it. Its proc would give you a huge AoE burst and give you 270 strength for 10 seconds. You were basically a god if you had this, both in PvP and PvE. It made any Death Knight, Arms or Fury Warrior, or Retribution Paladin almost unfairly OP, and then Cataclysm came around and made it completely useless. But I'll never forget farming that weapon or going out and destroying people with it when I finally got it. They don't call it legendary for nothing. Alright guys, thanks for watching my list of top 5 Wrath of the Lich King proc weapons, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any thoughts, be sure to let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. See you next time.